Greetings, all praise the King. Today, speaking about the beast state. The beast is symbolic. What people know as a beast is an animal. Yet in the scripture, in the last book of Revelation of St. John, who was imprisoned on Patmos Island, the word beast was used to refer to the rule of man. This comes from the gospel. Even the Christ stated, the kingdom of Iway is separate than that of man's. And how else will man's kingdom exist except by rule? So when the Pharisees, who were the governing body of that land underneath the Roman Empire, tempted the Christ to ask if he gave tribute to Caesar. As we recall, the tax was given in the second chapter of the book of Luke by Augustus Caesar. The Christ had said, "Show me a coin." Whose image and superscription is this? At that time, it is known that Tiberius Caesar had ruled. And why is Caesar important? Well, Caesar was the king of man's kingdom. And Caesar began to imprint his image on his coin. And the Christ saw this and knew this as blasphemy. Even the Christ knew that this item would possess the mind of men as people live their life to chase after these pleasures using their money. So even as in chapter 13 states that the mark of the beast would be given to all, that those did not receive would not be able to buy or sell or trade in this modern Babylon. Babylon is the beast's force. Even though the Babylon rides upon the beast, it is the rule of man that it depends upon. The head of Babylon is in Rome. And what else is in Rome other than the Antichrist? Even the separatists had claimed to be the popish government, not that of His Imperial Majesty. So there is two governments, that of Iway and that of man's. Now, in this country of the United States of America, prides itself upon the beast, that even the most amount of incarcerated people in the entire universe exists within the USA. And why is that? Because it's big money. Even though the British claims say that the US is the most powerful nation, there are other nations involved in the oppression that reap the benefits. It's as if someone comes to your yard every day with a wheelbarrow full of dung and sets it upon your front porch. Are you going to blame the wheelbarrow for the pile of crap? Or are you going to blame the wheelbarrower? So even though the United States may be the culprits of incarceration, they are actively under the gun, taking orders from above. This is what they call their protocol, which is also referred to as a process, or as the proper English would say, process. This is what gives Caesar, the enemy of the Christ, his power. You know, without this process underway, Caesar would not be standing. So you have to get people to believe in the process, and by giving them status or titles, a recognition of their superiority, that they earn their keep, they will effectively be loyal servants. Part of this process is to misinform. The more that people are ignorant, the better off the oppressor is. You see this in the court in which I just came a few minutes ago. There was a man that was facing a few offenses. You know, he got caught with a little bit of marijuana, which is acceptable in most everywhere in the world. Even a place that the CIA tells you it's not legal, people are still smoking it, and there's no enforcement. So they can write, like for example, in this beast state, you've got the law libraries that are full of all kinds of laws. Nobody knows them all. Nobody. And so you can have laws that aren't enforced. It'd be as if the law doesn't exist. This particular example, this man was facing a few charges. He caught with a little marijuana, and now he's driving, and the paraphernalia's in the car, and he's in danger, and they, what they call, they trump up the charges. Just like the pedophile, Trump. And so this is that process of fear. Satan looks for you to fear him rather than Yahweh, even the king. And so in this way, again, he's able to benefit. Because, for example, this individual had the charges. The state decided to make a deal with him, but they dropped the possession of marijuana charge. Now, why would they do that? Because they really don't want to stick on the books, because there's some kind of a guideline from the Fed who says, oh no, we're making money over here, and we've got the Canadians, you know, working their ways in, and you know, we're all going to benefit our small clique. And so let's keep things looking just. Let's keep things, you know, looking reasonable. And as long as people accept this process, you know, it requires acceptance. The process doesn't work unless people agree with it. And the issue today is that many people are agreeing with it because of that fear that once you put somebody into chains, put them into like the jail in this county, I've gotten sick every time. So it's an unhealthy environment. It is killing you. You'd be better off getting jumped on the street than going to the jail and sitting there, because it's going to affect you. There's mildew. Florida has mildew. These are for-profit institutions. The jails are owned by the jailers. So you might be able to put it together and say, well, you know, if the guy, you that's selling the trinkets, can force people into his store, he's gonna be better off. He's gonna be better off. If there's a kind of a road that all the roads lead to this one road, and then that leads to this guy's store, he's gonna be better off. So you design the process, to drive people in, present that fear. Most of what the police operations do is through this, what is considered mental warfare. But they'd rather get the outcome without putting in the work. And they can do so by showing up with the guns, with the other, weapons of war, and their, uniform, big sheriff. Everybody knows what happens when they put you in jail. So you get people running to them, oh, please, I beg you. And that plays right into their hand. What people have to learn first is how it works. How it works. If you realized your outcome is significantly improved if you take your case to trial, if you represent yourself, if you voice, if you have confidence, and I'm in straight your will, not just for yourself, but for others to take notice, to be an example, because they can't handle all the cases. Like I said, this is the largest, belly of the beast in the universe. And so, if everybody agrees, they can speed these cases up, they can bring more cases in, and they can make more money. They pay them themselves. You got cases where the lawyers, even the state attorneys, or maybe that's not correct, but even defense lawyers are taking money and turning around and giving them to the state attorney. The state attorney might not go straight to the defenders for the bribe, but they're working through the defense attorneys. And the judges are in the loop. This is all legal because it's their system. They designed it. As long as people believe it's just, then what kind of changes really have to occur? So again, it goes to the acceptance. This acceptance is consent. So when I sign the paper just now, I signed my signature. No consent. No consent. They may take it however they choose to take it, because that's what they do. These people go into every situation with this unconscious bias, because of their lack of experience. And they carry it with them, that they subject you to them, and they form all their opinions about their false illusion around their misconceptions. So they're looking to stick it to you either way. Sometimes it's race. The British, after the African slave trade, they had to turn the scenario onto us and make their crime our problem. And so now there's this racism that didn't even exist before, because it keeps us divided here, people that live in the United States, and it keeps them, they didn't have anything to do with it. At least that's the illusion, of course, right? People start to get educated. They go, wait a minute, you done disrupted these entire civilizations, took them into bondage, didn't give them the same privileges. Even the basis of the Constitution of this country was written by the slave masters that have now been officially public knowledge that they had raped at least Thomas Jefferson. We can go ahead and assume that the rest of them were doing the same thing. Raped. R-A-P. E. R-A-P-E. They're made servants. And even enslaved the offspring. So your constitution, the whole basis for your structure of law, that you know how like people always say, no one's above the law. So they take this thing real serious. It's their God. That's their God. And the whole basis of it is a draft by a rapist. Is it legitimate? If we have the facts, get rid of the misinformation and just present the facts. And we present these facts to some aliens. You know, they just came from some outer planet in some galaxy. They finally landed. NASA's been telling us they're out there. Here they are. We're presenting the facts. We're presenting the facts. What would they think? What would they think? All the men that support the Caesar, that man claim to be supreme. But where does this supremacy come from? Who gave them their authority? Satan. Those that escape persecution to come to this country to sacrifice themselves, their lives, to set up a colony, to not enslave people, and yet live in a religious order. Have a right to be heard. And they have left us with writings. And these writings declare this state as evil, not of Lord and Lord's government, yet of blasphemy. They exalt themselves. So even as the Christ had come to establish high truth, he has made it known that I law is the only legitimate law to I people. To I people. Because the man can follow, can choose to follow his law, but yet he shall not subject his law unto those that have already known thy way. For what Lord has put together, let no man take asunder. Even the Levites minister unto Lord. Lord is our inheritance.